Hello, this is Spicy Dungeoneer, and today we're going to be talking about cover and concealment in battle, in Dungeons and Dragons, and possibly even you could use these rules for other role-playing games. So let's get into it. Cover. You can use walls, trees, other creatures, any sort of obstacle to give yourself cover during combat, and it makes it more difficult to hit you. So you can only benefit if the attack originates from the opposite side of cover. And there are 3 degrees of cover: half cover, 3/4 cover, and full cover. We're going to be covering all of those. Alright, so first there is half cover, and that gives you a +2 to your armor class and dexterity saving throws. And the cover should cover half of your body. So the obstacle could be a low wall that you're crouching behind, a large piece of furniture, a tree trunk, and something like that, a stone, something like that. So you can imagine in a Wild West adventure, this sort of thing might be very useful to take cover in a shootout. 3/4 cover gives you a +5 to your armor class and dex saving throws, and basically the obstacle covers 3/4 of your body, and that could include an arrow slit, which is very common in dungeons, a thick tree trunk, or some other arrangement. Now you should remember that the sharpshooter feat actually gets around half cover or 3/4 cover, or ignores it, so you don't take any penalty to your shot in terms of the armor class. That is very useful. However, a lot of tables don't really worry about cover, so it's very situational depending on DM and the table. The main usefulness of sharpshooter is that you don't take the disadvantage when you're shooting long range. But I think that if you're interested in cover and try to use it to your advantage in a range combat, you'll find that it does offer a lot of strategic advantages. The last type of cover is total cover, and basically it blocks all spells because nothing can get past it, including an area effect, right? So basically an area effect or an explosion that can get over the top of the cover would be able to get through the total cover condition. Alright, so that's interesting for those playing a Western campaign, because you might use dynamite or some other kind of explosive and throw it over cover to get around it. An example would be a grenade or something like that. Alright, then there's this idea of punching through a cover that is being taken. So if somebody's hiding behind a wall, you might want to punch through it, or if somebody's hiding behind a person, you might think to shoot that person. So there is an optional rule called hitting cover, and that means that if your attack roll misses because it doesn't get the increased armor class of the person taking cover, but would have normally hit them, then the cover is hit instead. Now this is an optional rule and typical for D&D and Wizards of the Coast. Once you start getting into optional rule territory, it gets very cowboy, but we're all cowboys here, so that's good. But so we need to think about these rules and try to understand them, because they're not very intuitive sometimes and aren't explained very well also sometimes. But anyway, let's say you've got Bob, armor class 14. He's taking cover behind Jim, who's got armor class 16. Bob gets the +2 to his armor class. Let's just say it's half cover. So for now, he's got a 16 armor class. If I roll a 15 and I miss Bob, but I would have hit him before. That means that I actually hit his cover, right? Because his normal armor class is 14 plus 2 for the cover. His cover is Jim, right? So if Jim's armor class was lower than that, that means I would have been hitting Jim. But let's say Jim is wearing some armor and his armor class is 16, so it's still a miss and Jim takes no damage. So this is a good thing to take cover behind heavily armored characters, your team tank, as it were, and that could be useful. But I think for me, it's more interesting to, I mean, this is good, but let's talk about if you're actually taking cover behind, say, a table, and can you punch through it, right? So we're getting further away into any definite rules, but there are rules about interacting with objects, okay? So you might think that the armor or the table's made of wood, so it's going to be armor class 15, or the armor is something metal, say a metal pot or a metal plate or something like that, armor class 19 according to this table over here. And then you'd work out whether what sort of hit points it has. So hiding behind a cart, for example, you might say it's got 27 hit points. It's made of wood. There you go. Hiding behind a barrel or a chest. Okay. Obviously, you're not going to hide behind a tiny thing, but this gives you some ideas of how you can interact with objects on the battlefield and use them for cover, and then try to take that cover away from your opponent if they are using it to gain an advantage on the battlefield. You can get around cover by using different spells, cantrips, and feats like the Sharpshooter. The Arcane Archer also has a Seeking Arrow ability. There are feats like the Spell Sniper and things like that. And you might also want to think about certain very large objects like castle walls, houses, and things like that having a damage threshold. So basically, if the damage is not up to a certain amount, you just ignore it. That would be decided on a case-by-case scenario, and I guess we're moving into more like castles and things like that, so that might be better off to be covered in another video. Cover and prone can interact with each other. You should check out my video that I just posted about using the prone shooting position as a homebrew rule. I think it needs to be sort of a bit different than the prone condition, because if you can think about it, somebody could throw or wrestle you into a prone position, but a prone condition, I should say, but a prone shooting position is something you take because it is advantageous to shoot a rifle from the ground. That brings us on to concealment, and it's a bit tricky because there's no concealment term in 5th edition, but there are several rules that interact with each other. Won't go into hiding, but it's stealth versus perception. But there's also vision and light, unseen attackers, and the blinded condition. With vision and light, different kinds of light give you disadvantage to perception or create the blinded condition, right? And if you've ever played with high-level spellcasters, you know the slog of when battle gets down to everybody's hiding but in a cloud or some kind of obscurement, and it really can slow things down and frustrate everybody. But I think they get away with that by saying that the advantages and disadvantages cancel each other out. Like if you're both in a fog trying to attack each other, then the advantages and disadvantages cancel each other out, and you just go back to just normal attack. Alright, it just makes things a little bit tricky when you're talking about running around or moving around, or, you know. Anyway, being obscured, I think it's one of the things I have to fix in D&D, quite frankly, because it does slow the game down for everybody. It's very frustrating. Anyway, that's it for now. Have you enjoyed this video? I hope so. Please like and subscribe, and comment if you have any questions about this, or if I've made any mistakes, let me know, or if you know any other homebrew rules or other publications that have done it better. I'd like to know. Let's continue the discussion in the comments, and please share this video with your friends. It really helps me out and spreads the word. D&D doesn't really get too much into the Western genre, and I would like to develop it, so I'm reaching out to all my other content creators and friends who are interested in running a Western campaign, and hopefully we can exchange ideas and create something that's very interesting and new. That's all for me for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.